Let's start with a visualization exercise. Your imagination is going to be key, so can I request everybody to please close your eyes. Imagine you're at an airport. You're walking towards your gate, and there's a lot of hustle bustle in front of you. It's the Indian cricket team walking right towards you. You get very excited. You remove your phone and start taking selfies with the players. They're all very sweet, and you start talking to them. While chatting, you lose track of time. You see your phone, and you see the time, and you run towards your gate. You reach your gate just in time, and as soon as you reach your gate, your flight attendant allows you in the plane with a smile on their face. You smile back and take your place. You're a little embarrassed because the flight had to wait for you, but that's alright, no worries. Your flight went well, and you reach your destination. You decide to go and have lunch somewhere. So you order a nice, cheesy, creamy pasta with a Coke on the side. Don't worry, these are imagination calories, so they won't count. Now, on the table besides you, there's a mother and child, both dressed in pink. And they're trying to take a selfie. So you find that very cute and you offer to take a selfie for them. Okay, you can open your eyes. I have a few questions for you about your visualization. When I asked you to think of the Indian cricket team, did anybody think of the women's team? Did anybody think of the flight attendant as a man? Or the little child dressed in pink as a boy? It's alright if your answer is no to one or all of my questions. It's not your fault. It's what is familiar to the brain. Whenever we're put in a stressful situation, like for example, when I asked you to think of a scenario one after the other, your brain was put in a stressful situation. It had no time to think. So it went with what is familiar to the brain. So in this case, you've always seen the Indian cricket team as the men in blue. Or a flight attendant, mostly you've seen them as women. Or you've seen a child dressed in pink as a girl and blue as a boy. So it's not your fault. At any given point of time, our brain has to deal with about 11 million pieces of information. But really, it can only deal with 40. So that's why our brain creates shortcuts, which lead to biases. And this is called an unconscious bias. So the topic for today that I'm going to be talking about is revealing our unconscious bias. What is an unconscious bias? Well, the definition is, it's a still stereotype that a person makes about a group of people outside their conscious awareness, which means that you don't even know that you have a bias against a group of people. And this happens to all of us. A lot of the times, our behavior is dictated by these unconscious biases. Why am I talking about an unconscious bias here? I mean, this is more of a Western term, right? I mean, I was studying in Canada, as Sir said, and I had to study this thoroughly in my courses. But this is what is happening over there. Why am I talking about it in India? There's a lot of biases in India. It's talked about more there, but it's prevalent everywhere. If you think about, the biases that we have related to religion, related to gender, related to class, it's very deep rooted in our country. In fact, even biases related to accents. Let me give you a small example. So when I was a little younger, I used to watch a lot of Hollywood movies, and I would try their accent. I had to go for my tuition classes. I was in school. And every time I had to go by auto, and this was a very boring ride. So I would stop an auto and I would try a fake accent, because why not? So I stopped the auto and I was like, Bhaiya, can we go to Boat Club Road? What? Can we go to Boat Club Road? Ah, Boat Club Road. Oh yes, sure, why not? So he got very happy and he took me in the auto. I asked him how much is the price. Of course, he over-exaggerated and told me $300. I told him this is not going to work. I know that you have to take it by meter, so let's take it by meter. To my surprise, a Pune wala auto did not argue with me and he said, okay, let's take it by meter. Maybe he was scared because I was speaking an accent. Maybe he really liked me, I don't know. But he took it by meter. In the auto, he kept looking at me and smiling at me. He tried to talk to me a little bit, but he didn't really know English that well. And I didn't really know Hindi that well, apparently. So we couldn't really talk, but he kept smiling at me. The vibe was very nice in the auto. I reached my destination. I was about to, I gave him his $50 what the meter showed. I was about to head to my tuition. And this guy stopped me. He's like, can we take a photo together? So I said, okay, celebrity moment for me, why not? We took a photo together. And I went my way, he went his way. Very nice auto ride. I went for my tuition, I finished my maths class, I was very tired. I stopped an auto, I did not do any accent, I just wanted to get home at this point. I stopped the auto and he asked me very rudely, he's like, where do you want to go? So I said, this is my address. He's like, okay, fine, I'll take $100. I was like, no, you got to take it by meter, right? It's 50. He was like, nothing doing. It's either I'll take an $80 from you and that's the last offer. Otherwise, you find an auto somewhere else. I sat in his auto, we went. He did not smile at me. He did not talk to me. I reached my destination. I paid him his $80. He took it and he left. So for me as a kid, I enjoyed the first auto ride a lot more than I did the second one. So I thought, why not talk to people in an accent all the time, But then when I grew up, I thought that, is it right that I have to change my accent just so that people listen to what I need? I learned more about this and I found out that this is the bias that people have, that Indians have against other Indians. And this is not just for autowalas, this is for all of us too. How many of y'all have traveled abroad and you've gone for a holiday, and in your holiday, you're walking on a footpath and there's somebody from another country, from that country, who is walking towards you. And that person looks at you, you look at that person, you'll have a little smile or a little nod of acknowledgement, and that person goes their way and you go your way. But when you see an Indian in that country and they're walking towards you, that person will look that way, you will look the other way, and you will cross. This is relatable. You guys see the first row laughing a lot. So this happens. So this is very prevalent in India. Today's topic is being a catalyst for positive change. And I think it's very important for all of us to change ourselves, our thoughts, and the way we behave with other people in order to actually bring a positive change. Why is an unconscious bias a bad thing? What's the problem if we have it? Well, first of all, it stops your growth because it limits your opportunities. In India, a lot of us have to hire people, right? I'm sure a lot of y'all have hired people. And so in India, a lot of us, when we're hiring people, we tend to always hire within our religious group. So people, if I see a resume and I see somebody's name and if that person's not from my religious group, chances are that either I will not read that resume the same way as I would have if that person was from my religious group, or I'll not read that resume at all, which is now a very conscious bias. But what if that resume was the perfect match to my job description? What if that resume was the person who could have taken my company and grown it from here to here? I've lost that opportunity. Having unconscious biases also doesn't allow you to make proper decisions. So for example, imagine you're traveling from Mumbai to Pune and you don't want to drive, you're kind of tired. There's a couple who is with you, one man and one woman. So you want to, tell them that one of y'all drive, I'm going to just chill behind. So you give the keys. 99% of the times, you're probably going to give it to the man without even thinking. This is again an unconscious bias. But what if I told you that man had just started driving a week ago and has never driven on a highway before? That woman, on the other hand, has been driving for the past 12 years and she takes this road almost daily. Who would you have given it to then? So not having an unconscious bias would mean that you would be able to grow better. You would be able to seize more opportunities, make better decisions. And we'll be creating an environment that truly promotes equality, which brings in positive change. So now, how do you rectify an unconscious bias? Because we don't really know that we have them. Well, there's 3 steps. First is you've got to visualize. Visualize your daily schedules. Visualize that meeting you're going to walk into. Think of the people that are going to be sitting in that boardroom and switch those people. Think of that doctor's appointment that you have and switch it. The second thing is that you've got to examine your behavior. Ask yourself, would I be talking to this person in this situation in the same way if this person looked like me, or if this person did not look like me? And finally, normalize this behavior of the above 2 acts that I just mentioned. So let's try this again. Can everybody close their eyes? And now I want you to imagine you're sitting in a courtroom and the judge has just walked in. Or you're sitting in a classroom and your teacher has just walked in. You're sitting in an airplane and the pilot has just walked in. If your imagination was different from your first try, please raise your hands. Open your eyes and look around. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You all have successfully examined your behavior and are now catalysts for positive change. Thank you so much.